sure. I guess since I was a kid, I've always had that dream to always be in the front line. I'm not sure. It was just I had the opportunity, so I took it.
Did you get a bonus?
I got a 50,000 sign up.
How much?
50,000, I'm pretty sure.
How many years?
8.
8 years. Damn.
That's way more than your 16.
Yeah. Well, no, they're hurting so bad for recruits right now, and $50,000 bonus for 8 years. They're going to pay that over 8 years, though.
Right.
So he doesn't get like a $50,000 bonus anymore. They used to pay it out as all one lump sum, and then they gave it to me, and I just ended up drinking it. And that's a horrible, horrible thing. So you're going to go to Benning, right, for OSET?
Yep.
Did you get to choose duty station at all?
Not sure.
Not sure. Well, if you choose duty station, it would have been in your enlistment contract. But if you're going infantry, are you hoping for light or mechanized?
I'm not. So with me doing this, I'm not recognized with a lot of these terms. So
okay. Light infantry would be the 82nd Airborne, people who jump out of planes. Mechanized infantry would be 1st Infantry Division, 3rd Infantry Division, 4th ID, things like that. With the mechanized infantry, 1st Infantry Division would be Fort Riley, Kansas. 3rd Infantry Division would be Fort Stewart, Georgia. 4th ID would be Fort Carson, Colorado.
Okay.
And then the 82nd obviously is, the 82nd. So you'd be in Fort Benning, Georgia, which I think they just renamed Fort Benning something else now.
That's what I heard. I heard they renamed it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. So I was a mechanic, but I was in all combat units. So I was with 116th Infantry out of Fort Riley, Kansas for 3 years. And that's who I went my first tour with to Iraq. And it was fun, but being infantry, try to get somebody who's active if you want to do infantry. Try to get 82nd Airborne, something like that, because if you go mechanized, you're going to be fucking bored. Like completely bored out of your mind. You're going to end up cutting grass. You're going to end up literally painting rocks. You're going to be doing details, all of this other stuff, and you are going to hate life. So if after you're done with OSET is your one-stop shop. You're going to do basic training and your AIT all at one time. There's going to be no break in between.
So I don't have that. I have split ops.
You have split ops?
Yeah, I do. Because since I'm only a junior, that's the only opportunity they gave me because...
Oh, so you haven't graduated high school yet?
No, okay. I'm only 17.
So you're going to go to your basic training, and then you're going to come back, finish out your senior year, and then you're going to go to your AIT school. Yep. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the only thing on that is...
We actually have a listener.
Oh. Who?
Harley.
I don't know who that is.
He's a mechanic.
Oh, but with the so you're going to go do your basic training, and then you're going to come back, finish out your senior year, and then you're going to go back and do your AIT.
The AIT.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The hardest thing with that you're going to have is maintaining your physical standard, because when you get to basic training, you are going to be jacked. You are going to be
and
a brick shit house.
That's what I'm hoping to be, because I stay in shape with sports and everything. I do every sport you possibly could think of. The sports that I do at my high school, I do every single one of them just to stay in shape and everything.
That's good. Don't do your training, then go back and be a fat body, because that's gonna suck.
That's what I did.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's a. I've watched those young kids do that. They go to training and then they come back, they go to AIT and then come to their unit, and they're 40, 50 pounds heavier than they're supposed to be, and then they're just going to get shit on. Horrible idea. Are you, after you do basic training and come back, are you considered? Are you Do you have to like check in with the reserve unit or anything to maintain?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to do, it's not bad. Me personally, I would have just done it all the way through, but if you want to, get out there and actually, just get it done, that's great.
Yeah.
During your break time, what I would do is I would do the PT, get your, PT, keep it up. I would also start ruck marching. Okay. You know what a ruck march is?
Nope.
Okay, you're going to put a 60-pound backpack on it. You're about to know what ruck marching is when you go to basic training.
I'm pretty sure I've heard of this before, yeah.
You're going to ruck everywhere. You're not going to ride the bus like the rest of us pogues. Okay?
Yep.
You're going to be humping to the ranges. You're going to be humping to the grenade range. You're going to be humping to the gas chamber. You're going to be sleeping with, 180 other dudes in a bay, and half of those guys don't know how to maintain their bodies. Personal hygiene is going to be a joke. You're going to smell feet farts for 90 days.
Yep.
Okay. Not a bad thing. But when you go to the gas chamber, everybody that's sick, you're going to get sick. Okay. 100%. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
You're going to get a cold. You're going to get a flu. You're going to get pink eye. It's going to happen.
Somebody's going to fart on your pillow.
No, it's just that many people in that confined of a space. It's going to happen. I got it. I did it. It's going to happen. One thing you need to maintain and remember is that don't take it personal. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Everything you do will be wrong. The entire point of basic training is to tear you down and build you back up to military standard. Yep. So I guarantee right now, you do not shower correctly. You do not fold your clothes correctly. You do not hang your clothes correctly. You do not wipe your ass correctly. The military is going to teach you how to do all of that stuff. Okay?
Yep.
And the best thing you can do, what's your last name?
Smith.
All right, good. You got a good last name. It's going to be non-memorable. I went in, my last name's Skidmore. They knew my name. I was on everybody's radar. I was screwed from day one. Okay?
Yeah.
Your last name being Smith, you're going to fly under the radar. Don't be a PT stud, okay? Don't be the one that stands out. Don't be the nail that's not hammered down. Be the guy that just kind of flows with it.
Just flow with it.
Yep, just flow with it. Do your best, of course. Don't sandbag.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the rifle range, if you've been shooting already, there's guys that have never touched a weapon before.
Yeah.
And you are going to be beating your head off the side of anything you can that's hard, because you're going to be like, this is the dumbest shit ever. Why do you have to explain what way the bullets come out?
Yeah. Well, that was my goal pretty much, was because I've had my sister was in the military. She was a combat medic. And, she gave me some information, and she wanted me, what I told her was, I'm not going to be up front. I'm not going to be the one to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be knowing all this. And I'm not going to be that guy in the way back, doesn't know everything and just going to try to be like the low man. I'm going to be the guy in the middle that knows what I'm doing, but I'm not going to be an asshole about it.
Yep. You're going to be gray man. It's called being a gray man.
Yep.
You don't want to be memorable.
Yep.
You want the drill sergeants to be like, Smith, did I have a Smith? Shit.
Yeah.
I think I did. You want to be that guy. Your sister's right on, dude. That's what you want to do. You want to be the guy in the middle. When they ask, what is this? Don't be the dumbass that raise your hands.
Yeah.
Keep your hand down, because you're going to be wrong. Everything you do is wrong. But it's good. I mean, you've already got, if your sister was a combat medic, she was a 63 whiskey then.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows you don't fuck with Doc.
Yeah.
Yep. So when you do that, you come back, you're going to finish out your school, maintain your standard, and then you're going to go finish out your training, which is going to be, it's going to be rough, not going to lie, because you're going to go from military structure to civilian life, not so structure, back to military life structure again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I figured something like that. I figured that's going to happen.
Yeah. And with that, when you get done with OSET, they're gonna ask you, does anybody want to go airborne? That's when you raise your hand. That's when.
Yeah, they asked me that when I went to MEPS. They asked if I was airborne. I said no, but I would like to if that's an option. They're like, you have to wait until you're done with everything.
Yep.
I was like, alrighty.
Yep.
Because jumping out of an airplane sounds pretty badass, though.
Well, that's where you and I differ.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because, me and gravity are not friends right now. But when you get done with your training, they might have, 60 slots of airborne. And, it'd be like, hey, if anybody wants to get an airborne, raise your hand then. And then you can go do airborne. And if you do airborne, you're probably going to stay in a more high-speed unit. Now, with you being infantry, they are going to, you may be asked if you want to do Rangers. Do you know what a Ranger is?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I'm pretty sure I've heard of it.
If you do that, you're going to have to do what's called RASP, Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. And they're going to check your PT, make sure you're good, not a fat body, can keep up standards, stuff like that. But then you're going to do what's called RIP, Ranger Indoctrination Program. It is 2 weeks, and they're going to literally beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go to Ranger School, which is, I want to say it is 2 months long. Can't remember. It's been a while. And during that time, they're going to beat the shit out of you again.
Yeah.
And then if you get your Ranger tab, they might ask you to go, if you want to go BAT, which is Ranger Battalion. If you do that, that's where you start doing all the cool guy shit. That's where you start hanging out with the 160th SOAR, you start doing night operations, and you start getting on deployment tempo, which is much higher. And if you do that, you're going to go to your unit, and guess what happens to you? They're going to beat the shit out of you.
Yep.
They are. I mean, it's the culture that's part of it, is they're going to beat the ever-living crap out of you. They're going to test you to see if you have the mindset. And the best thing to do during all of this is to open your eyes, open your ears, and shut your mouth.
Yeah.
That is the absolute best thing you can possibly do. Do you have any questions or concerns that I can answer for you?
I mean, I don't, but I know I figured going into this, I already knew that I was going to get my ass kicked most of the time, and I needed to remember it's going to be common sense. If they tell you to do something, you just do it, and don't be stupid about it.
Oh, even if it's stupid, dude. If they tell you to go and hug that tree, dude, just go hug that fucking tree.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Don't be the guy that has to carry a rock. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't.
That happens?
Oh, dude, that happens a lot. They have people that they have all walks of life that come in there, and they'd be 11 Bravo. There's guys that don't know how to clean themselves. They don't know how to do laundry, don't know how to iron anything, don't know how to fold clothes. They have guys that they're going to teach them how to make a bed.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that go in the military that haven't slept on a mattress. They don't have covers. They don't have stuff like that. Once a week on Sundays, it's called Linen Day. Linen draw. He's going to strip his bed. He's going to turn in his sheets, and he's going to grab new sheets. He's going to have to remake his bed, because some people don't change their sheets for weeks or months. And that's how you get sick. There's people that don't do laundry. He's going to have to pull fire guard in an area that has no combustible equipment. He's going to he's going to sit there, and he's going to have a roster sitting in front of him of guard duty, and that's teaching him how to perform guard duty. Do not fall asleep on fire guard. Don't fucking do it, man.
No.
You get in a lot of trouble?
Yeah, if he falls asleep on fire guard, he's going to get what's called an NJP, non-judicial punishment, or an Article 15, and then he's getting the shit beat out of him. Because if he makes a mistake, the entire platoon's going to be punished.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've been told that already. One little mistake from you, it's not you getting in trouble, it's your whole platoon getting in trouble.
Yep.
And then that's your ass that's going to be grasped by your whole platoon.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's carrying a rock thing, though. Like, I mean, literally, here's a rock.
Oh, you're dumb as a rock. Here, this is your battle buddy, and they give you a fucking rock.
That's all. That's the only life they'll trust you with.
Yeah, that's rock. It. If he loses ID card, oh my God. You're going to have 3 inspectable items while you're there. You're going to have your dog tags are inspectable, your military ID card's inspectable, and then what is called knowledge. They're going to give you a book that you're going to learn that's like 300 pages front and back, everything from small unit tactics, phonetic alphabet, first aid, radio communications, max effective range of a M16A4 or whatever they're using right now.
They gave us a book. They gave us a book for drill. I've been about 6 or 7 drills now, and they give us this book that you have to remember the phonic alphabet. You have to remember the all these songs and everything, and the rankings and all the stuff. Yep. The Army values, all that stuff.
Yep. Know that front to back before you go. But if you're asked about it, they're going to sit there and ask you and be like, okay, who knows the phonetic alphabet? Don't raise your fucking hand. No. Keep your hand down, because they're trying to get the guys that are showing off, be like, I know, drill sergeant, I know the phonetic alphabet. Don't do it. They're baiting you. They're going to beat the shit out of that guy. Not physically beat the shit out of him, but they're going to smoke his ass. And then...
Well, I figured, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I figured that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And you're going to get smoked. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And you just got to keep your head down, and just remember, if you're going to doubt yourself at some point and be like, God, did I make the right decision? What am I doing here? Just remember that hundreds of thousands of people have gone through the training before you, and you can make it. It is not an impossible task. You got this. One day at a time, because you're going to go through red phase, white phase, and blue phase. Red phase is where they beat you down. Everything you do is wrong. It's horrible. You have no freedom, no nothing. White phase is where you start doing your weapons qualifications, things like that. A lot more drill and ceremony. You're getting more independence. They're giving you a little more leash. Blue phase is where you go in there and, blue phase, you got 30 days left. You can see graduation. That's when you're gonna do your final PT test to graduate. You're going to do your land navigation. You're going to do your medical, assess a casualty, call in a 9-line, stuff like that. And you're going to do your final FTX, field training exercise, where you go and sleep in the woods for 5 to 7 days or whatever it is. I think the gas chamber's in white phase. And the gas chamber's not bad. The gas chamber's nice because by white phase, you've had pink eye for, a month. You've been sick for a month and a half. And you go there and you go into the gas chamber, and every piece of mucus in your body is going to be ejected onto your uniform. It's going to clean out your sinuses. It's going to clean out your throat. It's going to clean out your lungs. You're going to be hacking and coughing. It's wonderful. It's going to suck at the time, but when you get done, you're going to go, oh my God, I haven't been able to breathe out of my nose in a month and a half. It's great. Yeah. It's not a big thing. And then during white phases also, you're going to go through your grenade. Don't launch the grenade. Don't drop the grenade. Don't lose your grenade. That happens a lot too. And when you go to the range, you're going to have these guys that have never shot before. And you're going to have these other people called morons that are going to try to bring a piece of brass or a live round back. You're going to do brass and ammo checks. Somebody's going to do it. So I guarantee you, I bet you $500 somebody's going to do it in your platoon. Or not your platoon, somebody's going to do it in your basic training class.
Oh, basic training class, yeah.
Yep, somebody's going to do it, and if it's in your platoon, they're going to smoke your balls. It is going to be bad. You're going to go to what's called the pit, and you're going to live in the pit. And the pit is they will rotate drill sergeants through just to smoke you so they have a break. You're going to do so many push-ups.
I figured.
Yeah, you're going to do so many push-ups, flutter kicks, and you're going to run everywhere. It's going to be awesome. You're going to enjoy it.
To be honest, I'm pretty good at all 3 of those.
When you're doing it, it's going to suck, but when you get done, you're going to be like, God, I did that. That's awesome. You're going to have people that don't make it through basic. You're going to have people that drop out. No bullshit. You're going to have somebody that sits down on the floor and just says, I'm not doing this anymore, and just refuses to train. And they're not mentally there. So,
yeah.
Yep. And
what about your line of sight guys, you call them?
You're going to go into reception. They're going to fly you to, he's going to go to Fort,
Benny.
Yeah, he's going to go to Fort, whatever it's called now. Fort Benning. He's going to fly into there, and then they're going to get on a bus at the airport, and then he goes to basic training. You're going to go to reception. That's where you're going to do your first shakedown. Contraband check. Don't bring cigarettes. Don't bring liquor. Don't bring drugs. Don't bring nudie magazines. Bring enough stuff for you to survive for about a week, maybe a week. By then, everything else will be issued to you. Don't be the guy that shows up with 2 pieces of luggage.
Oh, yeah. They now they give us a packing list.
Yeah.
They only allow you to bring 2 of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good. Somebody's still going to show up with luggage, dude. like they're moving in.
I got my Louis Vuitton bags here.
Oh, yeah. It's the Samsonite. Samsonite's the thing. You're going to see Samsonite. Don't bring a Leatherman. Don't bring a weapon. None of that stuff. If you need glasses, they're going to give you BCG glasses. Best birth control you ever had. You'll never get laid wearing those things. They're ugly, dude. It's horrendous. And then they're going to shave your head. And try to be at the front of that line. Okay? Because the shavers are sharp and they're not hot yet.
Oh, God.
If you're at the end of the line, the shavers are dull and they're about 5,000 degrees and it will burn your scalp.
No shit. That sounds like that hurts.
So if they say, hey, line up for the haircut, try to get in the front of that bitch.
Don't fuck around.
Yep.
All right.
That's the one time where you want to be at the front of a line. Okay? Because they're shaving the heads of 200 and some odd people.
Yeah.
And I think they only have like 4 or 5 chairs. So each person's has to do 50 kids or whatever. By the time the 50th kid rolls around, the shavers are dull and they're going to burn your scalp. It's just going to happen if you're at the end of that line. So that's the one, man. That's the one. Trust me. I've learned from experience. That's the one you want to be in the front of. And then you're going to go through and you're going to get all your uniforms, PT gear, stuff like that. During reception, you may have guys that try to drop out. They're going to say things like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. And you might get put on what's called line of sight duty, where these guys wear a road guard vest and you have to physically watch them sleep. You have to physically watch them shit. They cannot leave your sight. And that sucks. Yeah. And you're not even in the Army yet. And you're already watching another grown man who has a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
So other than that, dude, it's awesome.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yep.
You get to show your butthole to a bunch of old people.
Oh yeah, dude, you're gonna strip down naked. You're gonna be naked. You're gonna show a butthole to shit. You probably already just showed it to the guy in Butte. You might have to show it to another guy. You're gonna have to show it to.
Well, they didn't make us go to Butte. They didn't make us go to Butte because their MEPS doctors were all over the place at the moment, and they couldn't find one. So my sergeant took me and the kid from Miles City all the way up to Spokane.
Holy shit.
And that's where we had to go.
Oh, so you showed your butthole to a guy in Spokane. Nice.
So we got the hippie guy.
Yeah. And then when it's your turn to shower, you're going to shower daily. Okay?
Oh,
and
yeah.
If you're doing sports, it's a communal shower. Spigots are coming out of the side of the wall. That's it. They do what's called a car wash, where everybody lines up naked. And you have your little washcloth that you're going to put over your junk, and then you have your other towel, and then you have your soap. Actually, no. When I did it, they sprayed soap on you when you went through the car wash, and you're going to have your shower shoes on, and all you're doing is they may have music to it. I think it's called "Going to the Car Wash." And all you do is you sidestep through the whole shower. And the first one is probably going to be cold as all get out, but by the time you get to the end, it's about 5,000 degrees of steam and lava. So you're going to burn yourself. And then you're going to have to, so you're going to get through there and you're going to get all clean. You're going to get dried off. It's going to suck. By the third month you're there, no big deal. In Blue Phase, they don't do the car washing anymore. They just tell you to conduct personal hygiene. So go shower, shave, brush your teeth. It's on your own. It's no longer mandatory because everybody knows that they got to shower. That's for the people that don't do personal hygiene. You're gonna have a stinky kid.
Yeah.
Don't be the stinky kid.
Yeah, I take hygiene personal.
Good.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have what they did to us, and I know a lot of people. The drill sergeants, when you go out and do PT, you have to like clean your barracks before you do PT, and then you come back, and then somebody's going to have a grease pencil, and they're going to check everything and make sure everything's clean. Mm-hmm. We had a guy, a drill sergeant Merriman, that would pick boogers and wipe them on the mirrors and the urinals. He actually took a shit in a urinal once and then blamed us.
What the?
Oh, yeah, dude. It's part of breaking you down. And then, because then, you know, you're like, who took a shit in the urinal? And then all the recruits and all the privates are like, you know, looking at their buddy going, dude, did you shit in the urinal?
Like, we
and
talked
everybody's
about
like,
it, but...
No, I didn't shit in the urinal. Well, somebody shit in the urinal. Drill sergeant said somebody shit in the urinal. And then, like, there's a shit in the urinal. And they're just going to fuck with you, okay? It's a mind game. Just be like, well, let's get the shit out of the urinal now. You know, you work the problem. That's the biggest thing is you need to learn is work the problem. And you'll do just fine. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, leave your wall locker unsecured. Before you leave your rack or your wall locker, double tug that lock to make sure it's locked. Somebody's going to leave it unsecured, and their stuff is going to be strewn all over the bay. The drill sergeants are just going to take all their crap. They're going to take a boot and put it in the toilet. They're going to take the clothes and throw them out the window. It's just, don't be that guy. Make sure your stuff's secure.
Well, part of that problem is one of my buddies just got back from basic, and he told me to always keep my locker always double, because one, the drill people like to steal stuff.
Oh yeah, there's thieves.
People are just.
Oh yeah, it's called gear adrift, and it's there was only one thief in the military, and everybody else is just trying to get their shit back now. And people are, the guy that's supposed to be watching your back is going to steal your underwear because he lost his or he shit it, or oh yeah, somebody's going to shit their pants, guaranteed it, 100%. Somebody's going to piss themselves. I fell asleep on our last ruck march, and I walked probably 2 miles just asleep. I cannot remember it, because at the end you do a 12-mile ruck march, and it sucks, but it's called Victory Forge or something.
Yeah, that's what I was told, Victory Forge or something like that.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's just going to happen. Everybody else has done it. You'll make it through, no problem. Don't lose your weapon. God, don't lose your weapon. Oh. Yeah, during the FTX, the last part, you have a weapon, and you got to do bounding fire. You got to set up fire positions and all this other stuff. Somebody's going to lose their weapon. Somebody's going to fall asleep. Drill sergeants are going to steal shit. Your nods. Oh, God, it's horrible. Don't be that guy.
Josh, like I'm having flashbacks.
Oh, dude, it sucks so bad. But it was awesome at the time. Well, it sucked at the time, but now it's like, oh, looking back, you're like, oh, that was fucking fun. Where else are you going to learn? Where else are you going to go and shoot a 50 cal?
I know.
Exactly.
A 240 Bravo, a 249 SAW, an M16, and you don't have to buy the ammo. Where else are you going to go and learn how to set up a claymore and detonate it? Where are you going to throw a grenade? I mean, it's just those experiences that...
Sounds like Texas.
He's going to come back. He's going to come back, and they're going to be like, what'd you do this summer? Nothing much. Just went cyclic on a 50. You know? Somebody when I went through, whoever had the highest weapons qualification score got to shoot the AT-4 anti-tank weapon. Oh. That was cool. Yeah, you get to actually shoot a rocket. Don't miss. Because they're going to have a dead tank out there, and they're going to be like, shoot the tank. Don't miss the tank. They're going to give so much shit. But that's towards the end. That's blue phase. That's when you start doing all that stuff. So, dude, you're going to do fine. Don't worry about it. Make sure you got a good support system at home.
Yeah.
Do not drink. Do not start drinking now. I've been sober for 13 years after being an alcoholic for the military for 13 years. So, yeah, don't start drinking. Don't buy a Camaro.
Dodge Challenger all the way.
Don't buy a Challenger. Don't get a credit card. These are all things that I had to counsel my soldiers on when they'd come back, and they'd be like, "Oh, I fell in love and I married a stripper." Don't marry a stripper.
Too late. Too late on that one.
Oh, come on now. Don't marry it. Don't buy a Charger. You know, don't get a credit card. Run that thing up, because they're going to ask you when you're done with your training and you get to your unit. They're going to, be like, hey, who wants to go to unit armorer's course? That's when you start raising your hand. Who wants to go? Who wants to go to this school? I want to go to that school. Who wants to go and learn how to call for fire with the fisters? I want to go do that. That's when you start raising your hand, because the more you do, it makes you more indispensable to the unit and you get promoted faster. My nephew is in South Korea right now. He was a 25 Bravo, an IT specialist. He went in 5 years ago and he's already an E6.
Jeez.
I mean, I told him the same thing. I was like, what you need to do is you need to say yes. Who wants to go to the school? I do. Who wants to go do this? I do. We need 2 guys to go to the field. I'll do that. We need somebody to go learn how to drive a tank or whatever. I'll do it. Keep your PT score up. Once you get to your unit, start volunteering. Don't volunteer, but when they start asking, be like, hey, we need somebody to go do this. Cool. Hey, we need somebody. The most humbling experience I ever did was burial detail. That was, we went and we buried a World War II vet. We went from Fort Riley, Kansas to Oklahoma City, and there was 12 of us, and we had a bugler, we had the, 3-gun volley, we had the casket team, we had the flag team, whole 9 yards. Sitting there and laying to somebody to rest who stormed the beaches of Normandy was one of the most humbling things I've ever had the privilege of doing. It was awesome, and guys didn't want to do it. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do burial detail, dude. I went down there and I got to meet his widow and his kids and his grandkids and his great-grandkids. I read his headstone. I heard his epitaph of storming the beaches of Normandy and things like that. And I was like, holy shit. That was one of the coolest experiences I've ever done. And if you get that opportunity, definitely take that opportunity, because
take it. Yes, sir.
It'll humble you in a heartbeat, because you're going to meet some cool people if you do that, man.
Awesome.
But yeah, got any other questions or anything else?
I don't.
All right. Hey, when you get done and you get back, man, I'd love to hear from you again how it went.
All righty, I will do. Thank you.
Not a problem. You stay safe. Keep your head up. It's not personal. You'll get through it, okay? Hundreds of thousands of people have done it before you. You'll do just fine.
All righty, thank you.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right. Yep, bye.
Bye.
Oh, we got him on the show.
I think he's going to fucking make it.
I think he is a different. I would say he has a similar thought process like I do. Mm-hmm. Like when you're out and about goofing around with the guys, or strippers, whatever, you act totally different. You give off a different impression.
He sounded pretty humble.
I was gonna say, on the phone, he doesn't sound like the guy that I hear about, and in their shenanigans as kids. And
he's gonna do a lot of fucking growing up in the next 90 days.
Oh, I bet.
100%.
I want to hear I want to hear him come back. I don't know the kid, so
yeah,
I'd love to hear when he comes back how things are.
I think he's gonna do it. I think he's got it. I mean, he's got a sister that was a combat medic before.
Right.
Shit, he's doing 8 years for $50,000. During that 8 years, he's not gonna make fucking $50,000.
No.
No, I think he's gonna make 20. Starting out, I think he's gonna make shit. He's gonna make less than $20,000 his first year.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't make very much. I knew that, but I didn't know.
3 hots and a cot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. But I think, I think he'll make it. I hope he makes it.
Right.
Fuck. I wish he would have picked a different job.
Than infantry?
Yeah.
Like actually something with.
Well, something that you can use outside.
Right. That's yeah.
I'm partial to the mechanic thing.
But like I said, I do hear that a lot though, because how many guys leave and the military's like, hey, we'll turn you into whatever you want us to. And they're like, yeah, the problem is you've turned me into, depending on if they were active or not, you turned me into a killing machine. And then now I'm in the public, and the only option I really have is to be a cop. Problem is you be a cop and you're under scrutiny for all the bullshit that...
You have a better chance of being a cop after being an MP.
Right.
Military policeman.
Right.
I mean, that's almost a walk-on.
Because you're the same, pretty much the same.
Yeah, you have to learn Mirandizing people, writing reports, DUI checkpoint, shit like that. That's all things that you have to do as an MP.
Right, because Cody came back and he became an MP. And then, actually now he's a truck driver. He was a welder, but like I said, he's like, I get bored.
Yeah.
I went in, we did things, and I came out, and like I said, they didn't give me anything to use. The only thing I got was I can take orders, and I can say, yes, sir, no, ma'am, and then I follow these orders, and then I do my daily duties. Problem is now I'm free. When I get bored, I can leave. Yeah.
This does not interest me. I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah. And like I said, I think his biggest thing is the management. Because if your management sucks, he directly is affected, because in his mind, if management sucks, he sucks. Or, I don't know how to put it.
It's a direct reflection.
Right. And so when management treats him like shit because he's willing to just say, yes, sir, I got it. Well, then all of a sudden, management...
We're going to take advantage of him.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, see you later. I'm moving on to something else. Because he went to college for welding. The military paid for it. He's a truck driver now. The military paid for the truck driving school. And I was like, so that's my old thing. When people are like, oh, tax dollars in the defense budget. And I'm like, that's logical to me, though. That's money well spent, because what else was he going to do?
That's not defense spending. That is VA spending.
Isn't that part of the military bill, though?
Nope. Oh. VA is a separate line item in the budget.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Two completely different entities. When you join up, I should have told him to put his GA money in there. Fuck. He's probably smart enough to do that.
He sounds like he sounds like he has people that know more or less.
Yeah.
Kind of to help him. He wasn't completely in the dark.
Yeah.
Because I know too many kids that
he's gonna have people quit. I mean,
right.
Straight up in his drill cycle, somebody's gonna say, "Fuck it, it's not for me."
Right. Well, like I said, I knew kids in high school that, hey, the recruiting guy told me that I can have this, this, and this, and that there's a row of Dodge Challengers on the base from all the people that can afford them, and then they get there and they're like, this isn't what.
No.
That's not what I want to do.
Recruiter's job is to get butts in seats.
Yeah.
And right now they need 11 Bravos infantry, because everybody, all of us old asses, Jaeger, he's out. He's done.
Right.
He did his 5 years or whatever. He's got his security clearances. I told him that. I was like, dude, get a security clearance. He's like, why? I was like, dude, get a fucking security clearance. He got a security clearance. He's like, holy shit, this is awesome. I was like, yeah, because now he's looking at he's going to intern with the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, not Black Lives Matter, and he's going to be an IT guy with them. But he's getting a talk from them because he's a vet now. He's going to be a vet,
right.
And he's a security clearance, and they're going to start him at $90,000 a year.
What's the security clearance?
Security clearance is, like when I operated, I had a mission specific.
Right.
If somebody tells you have a top secret, they're full of shit.
Well, I knew that, but I mean, by getting it before he leaves, does that just allow him an opening for more jobs? Or
yes.
Okay. So if something comes up and they're like, hey, you have a security clearance, you get, by default, we're putting you on this because we can't trust anyone else with.
If he goes Ranger, he's going to have a security clearance. If he goes Special Operations, he can have a security clearance. Plain and simple.
Right.
Is required part of the job.
Yeah, because they have to obviously know recon and
well, yeah, they're shit. There's some unit somewhere right now getting read into something that will never make the news.
Right.
And we'll never hear about it.
Right.
Somebody's just going to fall down somewhere in another country.
There'll be a guy in a soccer field somewhere just
he's
digging holes and nobody knows.
Bad fucking day, dude. But that's what's going to happen. Get a security clearance. Take every school you possibly can.
Right.
While you're in, see, that's things I didn't do. I didn't take full advantage of like the distance learning stuff in the military. They want you to take classes.
Right.
They'll let you like go and do stuff to take classes. When they asked me if I wanted to go do a class, learn how to work on CATs or Cummins schools, I took that shit.
Right.
But during that time, I could have been doing all that stuff distance learning. I could have been getting certifications through Cummins, Caterpillar, Detroit, through the mail, or online, I guess, not through the mail. But I could have been certified in all that stuff before I even left.
Right.
I did not take advantage of that.
Then you would have had it when you got out.
Exactly. And then that's why I tell everybody, I was like, hey, if there's class, dude, take the fucking class.
Right. How'd you get in the private sector? That has always been my biggest question.
What do you mean?
Because you went to contracting afterwards.
Yep.
I mean, that's just, I guess, considered private, isn't it?
Yep.
So how do you, because from what I know, because the one gentleman I talked to, he never joined, but he said there was literally like a guy at the airport, and I guess he could spot everyone I think had their uniforms on. He could spot the badges. He knew who infantry was. He's like, hey, we're looking for people. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, we're, Blackwater or whatever. Mm-hmm. He goes, we're looking to fill 500 seats. Here's the contract. Here's what we're paying. Go tell all your friends. And the dude's like, dude, I don't want no part of that. And he's like, well, and he's like, no, I'm going home. I'm done. I'm, out. And he said the guy just went to the next guy. Said, hey, I'm with Blackwater. We're looking for 500 people. Tell all your buddies. Here's what we're paying. And I was like, but you were a mechanic. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, was it, did you walk off the plane and some guy's like, hey, we need a mechanic. Do you want to come join us? Or?
No, when I got off the plane, nobody fucking talked to me. We got off the plane in Kansas City. We got on a bus, and we got bused to Fort Riley, sat in a hangar for 4 hours with my wife, literally
like right there,
100 meters away from me, but I couldn't go talk to her because we had to make sure all the fucking grenades were accounted for. And she was like, why am I going to steal a fucking grenade? But then I realized that somebody's been fucking around on somebody, and somebody might actually want to steal a grenade.
Right.
So,
or like I said, they're done with it. They're going to walk outside.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Hindsight, I understand why they did it now.
Right. By the time you're like, I'm fucking feel fine. I better go.
It was very inconvenient. I got done with my military service, and I got done, and they do what this, out processing thing, where they're like, hey, basically it was don't kill yourself.
Right.
And here's some pamphlets to find a job. And there was a KBR recruiter there, Kellogg Brown and Root, and they're like, hey, you want to go back? And I was like, no, I don't want to go back. That's dumb. And I came back to this Montana to Billings, and I'm like, there's no fucking jobs here. What am I going to do?
Right.
And I had a wife and, 8-month-old. And I fucking had that dude's card still, and I was like, hey, I may have been a little hasty. And they're like, yeah, cool. We need you to go to a dentist. I'm like, why? Like, you can't have any, because they don't have a dentist over there.
Oh.
You
can't have any problems. You're
nope.
going to have to just.
They were like, you might want to get your wisdom teeth pulled. And I was like, Army already did that. So I went to the dentist and, made sure I didn't have anything like that. And they're like, okay, we need to go to this doctor. They set everything up. I went to Billings Clinic. I did a drug test, did a blood test, make sure I didn't have the HIV, and, make sure I had all of my appendages.
Right, like you were capable of.
Yeah.
I mean, there still was a basic minimum requirement to.
Yeah. And then when I was going to originally go, I was like, hey, I have all my recovery schools, mechanic, all that stuff. And they're like, fucking awesome. Love that. I'm going to see if I can get that for you. Call the recruiter. They came back and were like, you don't have your CDL. I'm like, what? So yeah, you don't have your CDL. I was like, I'd like sent her my driver's license from the Army, which has everything except a Blackhawk on it. I had every tracked vehicle, every wheeled vehicle, everything on it. And I was like, I've, got hundreds of thousands of hours of everything. I did recovery. Need a CDL. I was like,
because in a war zone, they want to make sure you're certified.
All the truck drivers had to have CDLs. So I'm like, this is fucking stupid. And so I told her, I was like, well, I guess I'll be a mechanic then. She's like, oh yeah, we can do that too. I was like, all right. And I had no idea where I was going to go. And I went down to Houston, and I was there a week. And they were like, okay, I had to do in processing. And they're like, you're going to a war zone. Here is body armor. And there's like people freaking out. Like, oh my God. And I'm like, can we skip this so I can start getting fucking paid good? And it was dumb.
You're like, I just got back. So if I'm going back over there to you're like buttoned up, your boots are laced, and you're like, this dude doesn't even know how to lace his boots up.
Dude, they showed up in flip flops and shit. It was bad. And I still didn't know where I was going. And then the last day they're like, hey, you're going to Baghdad. I was like, cool. They're like, you been there before? I was like, no. They're like, where were you? I was like, Ramadi. They're like, you want to go to Ramadi? I was like, fuck no, I'm not going to Ramadi. Because at least I knew Baghdad had the embassy.
Oh, right. Because it wasn't as hot of a place as.
Yeah, it wasn't hot until I got there. And then it went complete utter shit.
You're like, oh, this will be a safe choice. And then...
no, it was not. It was fucking whatever. I didn't give a shit. But then I made it to Baghdad, and they had 2 task orders there. They had Task Order 130 and Task Order 150. Task Order 130 just worked with the Army. Task Order 150 worked with the embassy. And so I don't know how the grace of God or just my good looks, I got Task Order 150. And that's when I started working with the State Department. And then that's how I got going with, everybody else, Blackwater and the State Department, shit like that. As you just start, contract jumping.
Right. But like I said, there was a guy, I guess, there with a business card kind of, you're leaving on your way out, and he's like, hey, here you go. If you want to come back. And then. Yeah,
it's. That might have been later. It was definitely not when I was there. I mean, it was different animal 2011, 2012. I don't think KBR has a contract over there anymore. Dynacor does.
I don't even know who that is.
Dynacor is another military PMC, private military company, and they do everything from cooks to mechanics to static security to moving security.
Right.
So, yeah, they have all that stuff. You can go to dangerzonejobs.com, and they have them all over the world. Africa's hopping right now.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, like, I guess they say how many wars are going on every day that we just don't talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to say nobody cares about, but like the one person, if they posted every time we were involved in a war, people would think the fucking world's ending every day.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Do you know what's not hopping right now?
What?
Ukraine. There's no fucking jobs in Ukraine.
Really?
There's no private military there.
Not yet.
When you go look at private military, there are different. You've got the white, which has nothing to do with race, and then you have the gray, and then you have the black. The white ones are the ones that are sanctioned by the U.S. military. We know you're here. Gray is more of your alphabet agencies and people who don't exist.
Right.
It's like
if you get caught, we have no idea you're.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. Sucks being you. Yeah. Black is where you're working. There's PMCs out of South Africa. There's PMCs out of Germany, Angola, Sudan, fucking Dubai. There's, those are called black PMCs because they are not recognized by the U.S. government. If you're going with them, you could be on the other side of the U.S. Army.
Right.
So they pay good, but I'm not fucking with them.
Right. So it's like a grading class of.
Yeah.
Are you the good guys?
Yes.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. Are you there to, the black ones are the ones that, in my belief, that they use to destabilize governments.
Right.
Those are the guys that are going to go there. Gaddafi, they were probably black that went and did Libya with help of the gray.
Right.
But
the black ones are like the whole, people get caught, we have to throw you under the bus. And
Wagner Group, the Russian PMC, black. That's a black contractor.
Gotcha.
That's somebody that is literally the highest bidder.
Right.
And people did, I didn't tell people when I was doing it and for many years afterwards that what I did.
Right.
I was a contractor, and everybody, I didn't tell you overseas. I was a contractor, and they were like, "Oh, you build houses?" I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. I can't put 2 2x4s together to save my life, but I was a contractor. Right. Because they didn't know.
Right. Nobody, and I hate to say it, but nobody probably wanted to know. And the only
it was 5 to 1. 5 contractors for every one soldier that was over there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I only know of Blackwater because we had a teacher that they were involved in Hardin.
Yeah, they were running the prison out there for a while.
Yes.
Yep.
But they'd gotten in trouble because they had essentially set up their own form of police, government, and law enforcement. And then one day someone's like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" And they're like, "Oh, we're with whatever." And they're like, "Yeah, but we don't have a police force here." And like, "Yeah, we know. That's why we set one up." And then she said more or less overnight it has kind of disappeared because they stirred the pot a little too much. Someone got involved and they didn't like it. And then all of a sudden they just pulled out. Like it was gone. And that's the only story I've ever known of.
Blackwater was up at the airport with
Really?
Billings Flying Service.
Really?
Yep. They were getting Billings Flying Service used to have a Sequoia 90 or something, and they were getting hours on it. It was like one of the only civilian ones, and they were sending their pilots here to get instrument rating and stuff like that on it. It was funny because I was coming back from R&R one time, and I was going through Dubai, and somebody who I recognized in Iraq was on the same flight as me, but it was it's no big deal
Right.
because we're all kind of going to the same place. But then he was on the same flight as me again from Minneapolis to Billings. And I was like, that's a coincidence. It's just a little too much, and you can tell that we're fucking PMC. You can like see us. We're very tan in the middle of December or whatever, and get off the plane. And I'm like, I saw you on the Rhino in Baghdad with me. Like, I was like, yeah, I got to get my flight hours here. I was like, no shit. He's like, what are you doing here? I was like, this is my hometown. He's like, no shit. I'm like, yeah. He goes, sweet.
Like, well, I know Josh lives.
Yeah. And like, we were just, shooting the shit. I was like, well, bye. And like, we left.
Right.
But he was pissed because he went from making Iraq money to U.S. money. And it was a drastic fucking pay cut.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, Blackwater's been, it's not longer Blackwater. They went from Blackwater to Z to, oh my God, Academy to, there's something else now. They're still around.
Right.
Eric Prince doesn't own them anymore. He sold to somebody. I think he sold he sold to Triple Canopy.
I've heard of them too.
Which is another PMC.
Yeah. Well, like I said, PMC, everyone thinks that they're like I said, just the rogue military that you're disgruntled with the Army, so you go join a PMC, and now you're waging war.
No, I want to get fucking paid.
Right. Well, like I said, though, but they're a private, if you need security because you're fucking some famous movie star and you have to drive through a Chicago.
Hurricane Katrina.
They were there. Mm-hmm. What were they doing there?
They were recovering $1 million and $1 billion worth of art.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
They were, if you look at the helicopters that are flying around, they're not all U.S. Coast Guard or U.S. military. They're
right.
Blackwater.
They were out there salvaging.
They were out there. They were,
Are they armed?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, like I said, they're actively fighting. Well, was it Somali pirates?
Yeah. Yeah. They do maritime operations.
Right.
No, during Katrina, they would they'd get a contract from fucking Rockefellers or, Rothschilds or whatever. Be like, hey, I have a fucking Picasso on the 14th floor of this building. I need it out before it gets stolen because it's worth $20 million.
Right. Here's 10. Go grab it.
Blackwater's like, cool, yeah, we can do that for fucking $400,000.
Right.
And they're like, deal. And they would helicopter over to the building. They'd fast rope down. They'd make entry into the building. They'd rappel off the side of the building. However they had to do to make entry, they would secure the assets that they were charged with doing, and they would take them out somewhere else. And they had some logistics person somewhere going, okay, barcode, this is the Rothschilds Picasso. That's going to Manhattan, 54th Park Street West. And they'd some fucking Blackwater dude would put it on a plane and he would hand deliver it to them. And yeah, hey, we have this bank that has $80 million worth of gold in it. We need you to secure it.
Right.
Cool. But the problem is they went from Iraq. They took Iraq guys out of there to do that.
Really?
And their rules of engagement
were the same.
Yes.
In their minds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Against U.S. civilians.
Right.
So when I told you that we would go in somewhere and that's ours now,
yeah,
that was the same mindset they had.
They didn't care if you were supposed to be in the bank or not.
Nope, dude. Everybody was a fucking looter.
Right.
Everybody was wrong, dude. They had stare downs with the police. Like the police backed down and was like, yeah, we're not fucking doing that.
Well, but that's why you hire those guys though.
Yeah.
Because the police during a hurricane are going to have a few bad apples.
They don't give two shits about saving your art. They want to save lives. Hopefully they want to save lives. But if they find, a Picasso floating down the river, they're going to fucking pick it up.
Right. And they probably know who they can go.
Yeah.
A fence.
Yeah.
They can go fence it to someone. And like I said, $20 million Picasso, that guy gets $100,000. He don't give a shit.
Oh shit. He $20,000.
Right. Well, right. That's what I mean. Like he doesn't care about the value. I don't want to say he's dishonest. He just, like I said, they bring guys in that are going to go, hey, you are an enemy and everyone is trying to breach our contract and we were hired to do a job and we were going to fucking do it.
Lloyd's of London got in trouble. Do you know what Lloyd's of London is?
No.
It is one of the...
I've heard the name or the...
They insured the Titanic.
Oh.
Like they're a big insurance. When you have to insure large. They insure like satellites and shit. They
Right.
insure big ticket items. After they did the first couple of those retrievals of somebody's assets, Lloyd's of London was like, "Hey, here's a list of shit. We need it picked up," because the payout was, a couple of billion. You pay them a couple of $100 million
Right.
to get the assets out. They've saved a shit ton of money.
Right.
They can justify that all day long.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that Lloyd's of London called them and were like, "Hey, we got all this stuff we need to do."
It was like a repo company. I mean, were they using them like a repo company then, or
No, they were securing the assets that they had
just
insured.
making sure that it was?
Yeah,
all...
they were calling and be like, "Hey, we got these people. We're going to come and secure your stuff that we have insured." Dude,
Right.
They were picking up jewelry, paintings, whatever.
Right. Like you said, the guy's like, "Hey, my wife calls the insurance company. My wife forgot her fucking $1 million diamond ring on the table, whatever." And he's like, "Okay, we need to grab that."
Yep. Oh, we're going to fuck up some doors and shit, and we're not liable for that.
Right. No one gives a shit because the ring is obviously more valuable than probably the building or the artwork or...
Blackwater did a hostage rescue off the books. I want to say it's a Catholic nun or a maybe it was like a Doctor Without Borders or something. But they were in the Sudan, I think, in Africa, and they got picked up by Boko Haram or something like that. And the government was like, "Hey, we can't do anything yet. We have to negotiate." There's companies that will have extraction people go in and either try to purchase the person back that's kidnapped. I had kidnapping insurance when I was overseas.
Right. Or we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, or they would come in and they would have an extraction team come in there and pull the person out and destroy everything else.
Right.
Blackwater, it was a weird story. Eric Prince went to church with somebody, and they're like, "Hey, this nun or teacher or whatever got kidnapped. Government's not doing anything. Sudan, we're afraid she's gonna get raped and her head cut off." And he was like, "Oh, I got some dudes over there. We can knock it out for you." And he fucking, there was like ex-Dev Gru Delta dudes.
Yeah.
They parachuted in and eliminated everybody in the fucking encampment, secured the person, and they got heloed out. And that never made the fucking news.
But like that's probably a positive story, but at the same time, it's
they violated fucking US. They violated another country's sovereignty.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they kidnapped someone there.
They don't give a shit. The politicians weren't doing anything. And Eric Prince fucking, I forget how many millions he paid the guys.
Right.
But he never charged the lady.
Right.
It was just like, well, that fucking sucks. He was a billionaire.
I love it though. It's like, yeah, I got some people in there. Like, what do you mean? He's like, and we're good.
I think they were actually there guarding a oil platform or a engineering crew.
Oh.
Is what they were doing. And then, he got on the sat phone. He was like, "Hey, we got a Frago. This is what we're doing now." And they were like, "Fucking, hey, let's get it." Because they were probably bored. Like,
right.
"Oh, this sucks watching these guys." They want to go shoot people in the face.
Right. Well, and that was a gentleman I knew. He was a lead safety guy, kind of similar to you. Got out, finally just decided it was just time to be home. Mm-hmm. And he was running security in Egypt. And he said the amount of car bombs that go off because they use cell phones for their, I guess, virtually be an IED. He said that the missiles are so high there that they were going off just because people call the wrong fucking number. Well, the people they're protecting, the car blows up in front of them. They drive around it, and the guy goes, "Is that for me?" And he's like, "I don't fucking know."
Yeah.
Like, he said, literally, that guy could have been headed to the fucking church down the street for all we fucking know.
The soccer stadium.
Right. And he's like, "Well, what do we do now? Should we pull over?" And he's like,
"Fuck no. You get off the X."
He's like, "If I pull over, we have to secure you and hold a position. If we keep fucking driving, the bomb's already gone."
Harder to hit a moving target, dumbass.
Yeah, and he's like, "And the bomb blew up? For all we know, the guy behind us is also a bomb. Like, we're just going to keep..." He's like, "We've done this before. Just mind your fucking business."
And at that point, you stop being polite. You still try to be polite. You're like, "Sir, sir, sir." But at some point, you go, "Hey, listen here, dumbass. You're in my world now.
Right.
Let me fucking work."
Like I said, you hired me to do a job. I'm going to do it.
You can fire me after I'm done if I offend you. But you're going to be alive, dipshit.
If we have to duct tape your mouth shut, we will.
Oh, they would practice doing, because they had the contract for the embassy and the all the diplomats there. And it's funny, another story. Let me remind me about the Polish diplomat that they saved. But so they get in there and they do these drills there where they're like, they can't obviously do it with the ambassador because they're a little rough.
Right.
But if like shit goes south, they will physically pick him up, carry him, and chunk him in the back of the fucking car. Like he is dead weight at that point.
Right. But they have one goal.
Yep, that's it.
Keep him safe.
Keep him alive. That's it. But the Polish ambassador in Baghdad got hit by a fucking IED, and he was there. Let's see if I can look it up.
You got an iPhone, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not plugged in.
Polish ambassador black.
He said thank you, by the way.
Okay. Yes, it was October 3rd, 2007. Blackwater helicopter rescues Polish ambassador in Baghdad.
Let me find this. What happened? Oh, no, it's not going to find it.
Yeah, I was there for that. That was awesome.
So what happened?
The Polish guy was going to meet with fucking one of the I don't know, he was like getting a contract for oil or something. He was going to talk to the parliament and they got hit and an IED, and there's a picture of him, and he's like his security detail was the Polish Grom, which is the special forces, and they know their shit.
Right.
But a couple of them got fucked up, and they were sitting there. Blackwater was like chilling, and the ambassador, the State Department was like, "Hey, Polish ambassador got hit," and they're like, "Well, that fucking sucks." It's not his responsibility. It's not. They're not on that contract.
Right.
And the ambassador, the embassy, was like, "Hey, state wants you to like go check it out," and he's like, "Well, we're not going by fucking car because it was like Nuria Square or something. It's just you're gonna get fucking shot."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, we got a little bird, a little black helicopter. We'll do that." He's like, "Okay, fucking whatever." So I'm sure a large amount of money exchanged fucking bank account somewhere. And so they land this helicopter in the middle of this fucking street, this little bird. And these pilots are part of the 160, the SOAR, the best pilots in the fucking world. And they have more hours under night vision than they do during fucking daylight flight. They're the guys that fly around DevGru, Delta, Rangers, all that shit. They're the fucking, they piss excellence.
Right.
Right. And so this Polish ambassador's all fucked up in this Mercedes that's supposed to be armored but wasn't. We did not have that contract either to maintain that fucking vehicle. And
you're like, they called the wrong people.
No, yeah, they did.
They took the lowest bidder.
They did. I think they had fucking Iraqis that were maintaining it. And yeah, I wonder what fucking happened there.
Right.
But so there's this picture of this dude fucking like he's all bandaged up, all fucking fat and like fucked up. And like they're like, well, what are we gonna do with this dude? He was so fat that they had to drop off one of the fucking shooters from the helicopter to make weight so that they could fucking take off. So they put him on there. They still had the pilot, the co-pilot, and another fucking door gunner.
Right, at least someone.
Yeah, they had to shit can this one dude. They put him on there, and then the security guard, like his security detail, tries to like get in the fucking helicopter, and this dude just I am Sparta fucking kicks him off of this fucking helicopter. And he's like laying on the ground, and they ended up leaving one of their Blackwater shooters on the ground there. And you see this other picture where this Blackwater dude just like he's just fucking running.
He's getting the fuck out of there.
Oh yeah, he's fucking gone, dude. I mean,
he's not gonna wait for the guys that want to finish the job.
There was already a convoy like coming to pick his ass up.
Right, but he's getting the fuck away from where he can be identified.
Yeah. And they ended up flying into the hospital at the embassy, I think, and dropped him off. And Polish government was like, "Oh my God, that was so great for you to help out." And they're like, help out? Like, we billed for that.
This was a change order?
That was fucking billable hours, bro. It was, I'm sure that was fucking probably $10 million.
It was live combat practice.
Yeah. Because if you get something like that, because Blackwater owned all the helicopters over there.
Right.
All of their own helicopters. They had their own fleet of helicopters and planes and everything else.
Where do they, I mean, I don't need to know, I guess, where they keep all this stuff, but the current status of America, I mean, owning gun is bad. But how does someone keep, they have like an island? Because I mean, I found out a lot of people have islands. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's a lot of islands out there that are privately owned, and people maintain their fleets of helicopters and shit there.
Blackwater doesn't own anything because it's a defunct company. It no longer exists. Okay. Right. Other companies, they have, there's places called free ports that are big warehouses.
Right, like would it be like similar to like a duty free zone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody checks inside of them.
Right.
So there's a lot of things in there.
Right. War Dogs. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
So the guy kicks the door open. He has a fleet of fucking like Russian helicopters, pallets of the ammo, like something similar to.
You have that in a lot of companies have their stuff on. If you're doing maritime operations, you have it floating in international waters.
Right, because no one's gonna.
It's on a Connex. It's like a fucking oil platform.
Right,
and that's where you have your shit. And then when they do crew changes, the boat, like if you're protecting a boat, it like gets close to the place, and then they load up all their shit, go on the boat, and they do it. They cannot make land, or they're in violation of so many fucking arms treaties. It's not even funny.
right, right.
The way that Blackwater did it when they were on it is everything they bought and purchased was not militarized. It was civilian until it hit Baghdad.
And then they'd bolt it up.
And then we militarize it.
I got you.
We wouldn't militarize it, but it would be militarized.
Right.
And all of their guns and everything, because they tried to get in trouble. They tried to get them in trouble for owning automatic weapons. How they got around that is they didn't own anything until it hit BIOP, and then the government like did a hand receipt over to them, and then it became theirs. Or they would just straight up use the Army shit.
Right.
Department of Defense.
That seems odd to me that there's so many. I mean, there needs to be rules and regulations, obviously. They can't be freely walking around American soil just driving tanks and shit, helicopters, whatever.
Well, that's my fucking dream.
No, I mean, like I said, like a private contract, like it could cause some chaos to have. But like I said, at the same time, you think...
They don't want them armed over here because they have a more effective military than what the Army has.
Right, but I mean, like I said, though, it's almost strange to me that, well, I guess, but at the highest bidder, if you let them store their shit in American soil and someone pays them more... Now you've let them move their shit in, so I guess nobody probably really wants to house them until they need them, and then it's like, hey, by the way, if you want to bring your shit over here,
they had their home base was in Moyock, North Carolina, was their Blackwater proper.
Right.
Dude, they had like an armored car thing, which was fucking dumb. I hated that fucking truck. It was so fucking stupid, and then it like had blimps and shit. It was weird. Like I think he was doing mescal or mescaline or something, like had these weird ideas, and he just started throwing hundreds of $1 millions at it. That fucking truck they had was so piece of shit. It was so fucking, dude, I hated that fucking thing. It was not user friendly. It was not mechanics friendly. The armor was junk. It was straight up and down. There was not enough fucking angle. It was a giant piece of shit. But Moyock, North Carolina, they had a training site for Tier 1 operators, SWAT, FBI, ATF, people who don't exist, alphabet agencies, all that shit. So they'd come there, and one of their thing is like, hey, you don't have to bring your weapons because we have weapons here. Well, if you're working with the government, they're going to like either bless off or turn a blind eye to you having 50 cals and shit like that because you're training them. Right. You're letting them use their facilities, I'm sure, for a steeply discounted rate. The part they didn't realize is that while they were there, they're also recruiting. So you get these Tier 1 guys. I mean, FBI has a great anti-terrorism force. ATF has great operators. CIA is kind of dicks.
Like I said, you're letting your best go to a place where then the guy is going, what do you make? How much do you want to make?
When you want to make some real money, give me a call.
Yeah.
What blew my mind is when a guy came over there and he said he was from the Department of Energy. And I was like, what the fuck? He goes, I was on the nuke retrieval team. I'm like, what? Whenever they transport nuclear material, they have, it's called a NEST team. Nuclear, I forget the name of it. It's a NEST team. But wherever that nuke material is going, there is a group of highly trained and motivated individuals that is within close proximity of it.
Right.
In case somebody tries to steal it, dirty bomb, shit like that.
Yeah. Well, I know when they moved the new, they had tow companies, but they were like, what was it called? They weren't stickerless, but it basically had like American towing.
Ghost Fleet.
And they would go ram any vehicle that was not mobile, because if you weren't moving, they would come tell you to move. And if you didn't want to move,
they would move you.
Yes. And if you were moving, they like didn't care. But for the most part, if you weren't moving, there was a series of tow trucks that went and removed you a safe distance, whether you wanted to be or not.
There's a ghost fleet in this country
That's what I hear.
Does not run logs.
I know. I wanted to be on it.
That
was my dream as a kid.
They move nuclear weapons and shit, and they're in non-discrete plastic Volvos.
Well, that's what. See, everyone always said that they were. I guess back in the day when the large cars first came out, big hooded trucks, the Pete's, Kenworths, they were driving all black ones. That was always the rumor. Mm-hmm. But then, like you said, nowadays it sticks out.
Yep.
They're no longer because not everyone has a long nose Pete.
They're driving Volvos, whatever's the most produced, and it's going to be in the most produced color.
Right.
And it's going to have bullshit fucking IFTA sticker, all that stuff. They don't stop at scales.
No.
They get the pre-pass light. They don't pull over if they're getting pulled over. They have a panic button. If something doesn't feel right, they hit that panic button, and that's how they move a lot of ammunition, currency, weapons.
See, I always wanted to be on that.
You can't fly nuclear. The only people that can fly nukes is if it's loaded underneath of an aircraft. Because you can't fly it on a C-130 because it violates the nuclear armistice with Russia. They have to know where all of our nukes are and shit like that.
Right.
Like
But I mean, if you're flying it and if it's in an airplane, you're probably doing something with it.
Yeah. So we have to try. A lot of that shit has to be fucking done. They'll transport nukes and stuff from like was it Minot to like David Moffett. They'll put it in like a B-52, but then another airplane will have the triggering device.
Right.
Flown with it. So it's you can drop a nuke and nothing will fucking happen.
Right. It's
I think there's currently 15 missing nuclear weapons that we fucking dropped and can't find.
Oh man. Well, I heard too that like I was watching a movie and they basically debunked it, I guess, and it's a movie so no one really fucking cares, but it has to be dropped from certain distance from the ground. It has to be like there's a set of parameters.
Yeah.
And they had buried this nuke in a mine covered in concrete, whatever. And it went off and fucking like destroyed South Korea. And they're like, and everyone's like, the problem is nukes are very temperamental. And it's not the explosion that you need. The reason they're effective is because the radiation.
There's so many safeties on that fucking thing.
Yeah.
I had a guy I served with when ended up being EOD. And he was like master EOD or something. And like he learned how to fucking work on nukes.
Right.
Because you have to have an EOD guy when you have a nuke. And the amount of safeties that are involved. Everybody thinks that it hits the ground and explodes. That thing explodes like 3,000 feet above the ground.
Like the biggest effect.
It's an airburst.
Right. And the biggest effect of it is not the explosion.
Yeah.
It's the radiation. That's what fucks everybody up. Because, I mean, I know it's got a lot of force, but they said, like, you take it to a skyscraper, you blow it up on the roof, and that's like its effective range. But the radiation is where you get all of your damage. That's why nobody wants to use them. It has nothing to do with the explosion.
Makes it uninhabitable.
Yeah. Supposedly.
Yeah.
Well, they say Chernobyl and...
Yeah, but we moved back into Nagasaki and Hiroshima pretty fucking quick.
That's what I mean. They're basically coming to the point that unless we really drop a lot of them...
That's I think the thing with that is that we have different nuclear bombs. We have low yield, and then we have hydrogen bombs.
Right. And the fission...
The fission's different, so it doesn't release the same amount or as much radiation.
Right.
But we have bombs where we've designed it to go in and there's no nuclear fallout, but it'll just blow up like one steady block.
Right.
It's just guaranteed to destroy everything.
Right, to incinerate you.
I don't really care about nukes. The part I don't like, or that actually scares me about a nuke, is the EMP.
Where it wipes out every...
electrical thing with a circuit.
Yeah.
Because with an EMP blast, it's part of the byproduct of a nuke is an EMP.
And that's where they say that's what everyone worries about. Because even if they detonate it too high in the atmosphere to even do any damage, the EMP, I think, they said something about still reaching enough of electrical systems, transmission wires, whatever, to like transmit it and then blow up your substations. And there's a 5-year backlog on transformers.
There is the Department of Energy did a study recently, and they theorized that if they lost 15% of the current transformers or like rectifiers or something on the grid,
Yeah.
it would drop the grid and they would not have enough repair parts.
No, because they
15%.
they're looking at, because I think someone said that Ukraine, they did that. They knew if they could damage enough transformers, at least they could wipe out their power. Mm-hmm. And in America, they're actively reusing transformers because they can't get any more. So they can't just say, hey, we want to build another substation. We have to find a transformer that we can move and use in our new substation. But if you move it, you have to reroute all the power you were using to the new substation. The only problem is, if the transformer was only handling what it was doing before, how the hell are you going to make it handle more now? Mm-hmm. And then I asked the one lineman guy I talked to, we were talking about how they work, and he said, pure fucking magic. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, the 500,000 volts lines, they're huge, they're massive, and they're fucking, 100 feet off the ground, whatever the fuck they are. I'm not a lineman. The heights kind of scare me. So he was saying, if you look at them, look how far apart those wires are. He said, then look at the transformer. They get really close, they make contact. And he said the transformer there, it's put together with wood bolts and basically cardboard, but it's just the paper and not the wavy stuff in between. And he said they wrap all the copper in that cardboard paper, and they have wooden torque wrenches, more or less, that tell them how to torque their wooden bolts, because everything inside of there is encased in mineral oil. Uh-huh. And it basically is a giant time bomb, and it takes a single drop of water to fall in the right space to set that bomb off.
If the oil leaks out of there, it's going to explode.
And that's what usually, it might be a rectifier. An open air, I believe it started with an R. I don't think it was a rectifier, but they're open air coils that dump the power into the ground. Mm-hmm. So if they call it dirty energy on the wind farms because the wavelengths are too far off, and I guess I didn't know power wasn't usable. I thought power was power, but they have to clean it, modify it, and change wavelengths and hit cycles and whatever.
Oh yeah.
So these things, if it starts to get out of cycle, it dumps the power into a coil, and then after the coil takes it, it puts it into the ground. Problem is, they say, obviously, as you well know, working on stuff, things get hot when you start dumping power through it. Those fuckers light on fire. As soon as they light on fire, everything around them starts to heat up. As soon as everything else starts to heat up, pretty soon you got a fucking transformer that is on fire and oil's leaking out. Or same thing with the nitrogen. It should be compressed nitrogen for the heat cycles. Mm-hmm. So they have I forgot how big this fucking tank was. It's fucking massive. But every summer it purges some because it expands. And then during the winter, the tank refills the transformer. Well, if they forget to refill the reserve tank so it can keep running cycles, it runs out, and then pretty soon it's got an air gap. And then as it air gaps, it will somehow suck moisture in. And positive pressure systems, when they work on them, you have to have a positive pressure, like a clean room in a hospital. You can't vacuum because if it sucks anything in there, these transformers are $5 million something a piece. And
I don't doubt that.
Here's the best part about the wind farm. Here's what I love about big jobs, because the idiocy just seems really dumb. The computer on the transformer was bad. So the company sets it all up, whatever. They do their job fucking wrong. Because you can't set a transformer up if the computer's not working. How are you supposed to test the fucker? So they set it up anyways, and they go to leave, and the computer's on back order, and the guy's like, hey, what are we doing? And then they're looking for the secondary computer. And he's like, hey, where did the secondary computer go? The guy goes, oh, well, we set it here, and then we came back and can't find it. They had put something on so it's a big concrete block. I mean, it's solid concrete, 20 by 30 by 4 or 5 feet thick. They had placed something on the pad and then set the transformer on top of it.
Squished it?
No, they couldn't get it.
Oh.
It was I think you could see it, but it was like the bottom's raised or whatever. And the guy's like, why the fuck would you, as they're craning it in, why would you not, who the fuck left that there? And they're like, well, we didn't want it to get lost. So we put it there because the transformer's got to go there. We knew it wouldn't move. Well, now it's underneath the fucking transformer. You're not going to lift that fucking thing.
Poke it with a stick.
So then they bring in the feet Once again, as working on shit, you know that the pressure points are where you're supposed to sit everything. We get done setting all this. We come back in and there's like 4-inch gaps below the feet, and it's setting on the bottom of the transformer. And everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? Because these feet are where it's supposed to sit. So where is the rest of it? These guys show up from like Germany, barely speak English, and they're like asking us questions, and I can't do a German accent, or I try, and they're like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well, I got to weld the feet because they engineered it wrong or whatever. So they had a welder come in. He welded the 4 bolt holes because the engineers deemed they need to be larger, then drilled 3. Then they had this guy show up in like a fucking Saab wagon, pull a fucking welder, and it literally is like rubbing the tires and the wheel wells, pulls a welder and stacks of steel plates out, shims them underneath there, but they're not doing anything because you can't actually get the pressure off the bottom. Fucking welds them, has the driller come back, drills it, and then we put the bolts in the holes. And then, because everything has to be fucking stainless, when you work with stainless, it welds. It self-welds. We forgot to put anti-seize on one of them. That fucker never got tight. It sat there and spun in that hole, and we just basically made it look like it was touching. And, yeah.
As soon as they sign that project over, it's your problem now, bud.
Pretty much. I heard there was a lot of lawsuits and things invested. Because that was the job, though, too, where the guy went around. It was a pissing match. And at one point, someone said, if things aren't paint markered, are you really torquing them? So as I'm epoxying, not even fucking tightening, just epoxying the bolts in the hole, they're putting paint marks on them. And the inspector's standing there, and I'm like, the dude like puts a nut on, makes it touch the concrete, puts a paint mark. He goes, looks tight enough to me, and walks off. And the inspector's like, does nobody realize that I know I'm not a fucking idiot? You couldn't have torqued these if you just fucking put the epoxy on them. Oh, God, it was a great time. Oh, that video you sent me. Hey, we have 3/4 bolts, but 5/8 holes.
Yeah.
We had that. The engineer called for 3/4 bolts, anchor bolts. You had to fucking bore them out. And the holes were 5/8, but it was so flat to the concrete, you couldn't drill them out. So we had to use like our concrete bits and just try to bore them out. And then they were like, yeah, you guys can use smaller bolts. We're like, well, why didn't anybody fucking tell us? Oh, it was sucking. We had to epoxy and spray foam, and oh, God, it sucked. That was the capacitor bank where, again, here's the idiocy of things. Yeah, these things kill people all the time because they're made to store power. We're putting fuses in that weigh 50 pounds a piece. There's 200 of them. And I mean, it's fucking a massive fuse. The dude grabs something. He's like, ah! And I'm like, what happened? He goes, it just shocked me. And someone's like, that could fucking kill you. Well, we forgot to put one of the grounding straps on properly. So it wasn't grounding. But even then, they said it probably still would have fucking did it. And we're all laughing at him. So then he does it again and again. And we're like, dude, quit touching shit. And we're trying to pull a breaker out and replace it because it's fucking bad. So finally, I go to do something, and you're in a weird position, in a tight spot. And fucking, I reach up and grab it, and I was like, holy shit, this thing got a lot of power. And I was like, you think you would have diffused it by now any times you fucking touched it? I got out. I said, dude, I got a baby. I just had a baby. I'm not doing this. And then I go up in the air in the man basket, and I start looking around, and you can hear the hum of the transformer, and I'm like, they told me to grab wires and move them and put shit on them and do stuff. And I was like, I don't know which wires are live and which ones aren't. So I got out of the man basket, and I said to the foreman, until somebody tells me like what's safe, what's not, and like will go up with me and make sure they told me just to figure it out. I was like, okay, well, see you guys later. And the inspector came over and he's like, hey, I'll show you. We go up and he goes, everything on this plane is dead. He's like, here's your lockout tagouts. He went through, we locked everything out. Like, but I mean, it wasn't even locked out. Like, I literally was up in a hot fucking 34,000 volts. Man, they want me to grab that, but I don't know if I should.
You'd never know if it was live or not in the end.
No, I wouldn't. You would have heard the fucking pop of the tires, and that would have been it.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then he showed me, we locked everything out, and I started.
Would have been cooked from the inside out.
God, it would have fucking been quick. Wouldn't even have known.
No.
But like I said, that was my only problem with him, and is that it was such a pissing match that I called safety. We had a guy drinking on the job site. I called safety and said, he almost hit me with the backhoe. Like, I want to figure this out. We can't replace him, so we have to keep him. I was like, okay, see you guys later. Like, my life is not fucking, I don't care. But But then, yes, he finally got fired and things went good. And that wind farm was a lot of good stories.
It's 11 o'clock, dude.
I know you're out of chew.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not? I thought you were.
But I've had
4 waters. The other thing that I noticed, remember I was telling you the podcast things that we do? All of a sudden, every podcast I see has Liquid Death on it. And I'm like, me and Josh are just setting fucking trends over here.
Trendsetter.
Oh, man. No, thank you, sir. That was good. I'm glad he called because I think if we can get him here live next time, it'll be a good show.
Because my experience and his experience are 20-some fucking years apart.
He's going to be like, yeah, they had a support group for me. I got to hold hands and we hugged every night. And
I had a stress card.
You're going to be like, hey, bud, when he put his hands on his shoulders, he wasn't hugging you.
Yeah.
And then I tried to get Shelby here, but she doesn't do anything but get on her phone, so.
He said thank you. He said it was fun, and then he wished he was here.
He could have been here.
Yeah, because he said he doesn't ship till the 7th.
Nope, he ships on the 4th now.
He said the 7th.
I think he lied to you. Oh, God, it's 11 o'clock.
I don't know, first it was the 6th, and then it was the 4th.